Hey guys, welcome back to the block, and today I'm starting a series called The ABCs of Horror. I'm a huge horror fan, always have been, and so I've decided that I'm gonna alphabetically go through every video, and I'm gonna find pretty much just straight up type in horror movies that begin with the letter A, and we're excluding, A Quiet Place that would go in queues, A Nightmare on Elm Street, which wouldn't do me any good because the whole point of this is for me to watch horror movies that I haven't seen. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of horror movies, thousands of horror movies that come out every year. I haven't been able to keep up with them. And there's some, especially when we get over to the B's, I've been putting off just because they don't seem like my thing. They look like they're going to be trash. We'll see. Hopefully Sandra Bullock hook me up with that bird box and she'll surprise me, but doubt it. But the whole point of this is for me to get out, watch more horror movies, watch more diverse horror movies, stuff. I mean, I've got the list for the A's right here, and I haven't even heard of most of them. So, but anyhow, so that's the whole thing. Every movie, I'm going to come back. I'm going to give my reaction right after watching the video, and we'll see how it goes. If you guys have any recommendations for horror movies B, that'll be the next one that comes out. Horror movies that begin, I've already got two. The Babadook just doesn't seem, I've always avoided it, and Bird Box looks like the dumbest thing imaginable. Haven't seen it, I'm going to watch it. This gives me an excuse to watch it. So if you guys enjoy horror movies, I know I do. There's some possible spoilers. I've got 10 horror movies that start with A that I have not seen before. Outside of my best friend tells me I've seen Abigail. I feel like I've only seen the trailer. So it's on here. I don't remember watching the movie. So we're going to check that out. Everything else I have yet to see. So stick around, like and subscribe if you like the videos. And like I said, recommend some movies down there in the comment section. You never know. And like I said, I'm going to go through the entire alphabet and watch 8 to 10 movies of that letter of the alphabet that we're on. I've got just about every streaming service I can think of. This seems like a good use for those streaming services. Get my full bang for my buck because prices are going up. And with that being said, I'm going to try not to spoil any twists, any huge plot, things that are just going to shock you out of something. But I will be kind of giving my overall review, kind of giving what I thought on the film, and most of all, if it's worth your time, if it's worth watching, if I believe that. So, with that being said, possible spoiler warning right here. And we're going to get on to the first video. First movie I'm watching is called Afraid on Netflix. Wow. This was a pleasant surprise. So I just finished Afraid, and, I kind of saw this not being great. I thought it was just going to be another generic AI out-of-control movie. I actually really recommend this. This came out in 2004. Now, he plays a character named Curtis who... his job is advertising for technology. And so this big corporation makes a new AI called Aya. And this thing's impressive, first of all. Like, from the get, I know where this is going, but this doesn't even seem like an AI. I have, my own theories that are neither denied nor confirmed in the movie, so I'll go ahead and throw that out. But this seems more like a supernatural thing than it does a just technology. For real. It doesn't seem like a robot at all, but overall fantastic. Surprise hit, actually. I wasn't looking forward to it because I'm not a huge fan of PG-13 horror movies very often, but I put this up there with Black Phone. Great characters, and I swear, so this takes place with Curtis, his daughter Iris, who's a teenager, and his two younger sons. One's probably 6, the other one's probably 10. And I'm telling you right now, dude, if teenage girls are actually like these movies. God have mercy on my soul. I have a 4-year-old daughter, and I swear to God, if she's even a fraction, like, oh my God, it's killing me. I'm not looking forward to being a father of a teenage girl. If any of these movies with the teenage daughters in them are to be believed as fact, which there's a recurring pattern, I'm in trouble. But anyhow, so these movies make me not look forward to that. But as far as a PG-13 horror movie about AI, which I'm not even sure that is in stone. Like, I've got some fan theories whirling around in my head about this one. But overall, I'm going to put this up there with Black Phone. As far as, like, technology horror goes, I'm going to go as far as saying it's up there with The Companion. I think it's right up there with The Companion, and I really enjoyed that movie. So I'm going to slap this in at 8 out of 10, and I'm pretty much done talking about this one because I don't want to spoil anything that I don't have to. I highly recommend you go watch it. It was very entertaining. This is a pleasant start. I actually thought this one was going to be a dud, but 8 out of 10. Highly recommend go check it out. And our next movie, which is called Amulet, and I found this one on Disney Plus. Wow. They I guess they can't all be bangers. So just finished Amulet, and wow. This movie exists solely because someone just wanted to make a movie. The characters are dull. The story makes no sense at all. It's the slowest burning thing I've probably ever seen in my life. This was a slog to get through. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. I'm going to tell you everything that's important, which is very, very little. I'd say there's maybe, it's a 1 hour and 40 minute long movie. It's clearly a foreign film. I don't know if that makes any difference to you guys out there, but it was came out in 2020, and so essentially we meet this guy. For some reason, when he goes to sleep, he duct tapes his hand together. Every time you see him getting ready for bed, he duct tapes his hand together. They never come back around on that, so that's just a moot point. So he loses all of his stuff and becomes homeless. A nun finds all of his stuff, invites him to come and pretty much just be like a maintenance guy at this woman's house who's taking care of her sick mother in the attic. So yeah, he agrees. They feed him. He's got shelter, all that good stuff. He kind of gets a thing for the daughter, which is a really weird thing. They don't have chemistry at all until like pretty much they're just like making out randomly, and then they're both like, no, stop. It doesn't make any sense. And then this chick, she tries to dance, and she must have learned her dance move from Menage a Plank, because I'm feeling that vibe. Like, she just like, I thought she was making fun of my seizures. But anyhow, so we go along with this. Most of this movie is just like it's like a love story with two characters that have no chemistry with creepy music set over it. So there's one scene where the toilet water's black. He pours some bleach in it, flushes it. He's trying to fix it. And then he finds a bat in the toilet after he flushes it. He reaches down with his bare hands like an idiot, grabs it, lifts it up, and it's like a naked bat. It's like a naked mole bat. Yeah, naturally it bites him, so he throws it down, stomps on it. Flash forward, they're about to make out, and all of a sudden they hear noise upstairs, so she goes up to help her mom, who's a decrepit old lady, kind of looks like a witch or a hag or whatever. He finally gets to go up and meet her. She turns away for a second. She tries to strangle her. He just like stomps on her once, and she's down for the count, and they run back down and regroup, I guess. And then he talks to the nun. Turns out apparently her mom's possessed by a demon. And then they have this scene where they go up to check on the mom again, and she's like writhing in pain and all this other stuff, and gives birth to a bat, one of the naked mole bats. And the daughter just stomps on it and just like, gotta do what you gotta do. And he's like, well, that's weird. Like, these characters don't have any, like, they're just the most generic characters you can ever believe. And then he decides, so after talking to the nun, turns out the woman that's there taking care of her mother, she's like linked to the demon, because a demon has to have a caretaker. That doesn't make much sense to me, but so the only way to free her is for him to go up and kill it. So he's going up, the mom's beating on the door, he's got a knife. He reaches through the door while she's beating it. It's got like a chain lock on it. He reaches through the door like this for some reason. Naturally, she bites him. He's like, oh no, and then stabs her in the up under the chin with a knife. And then he runs up after her, and then all of a sudden he just gets to the top and he's like, oh no, my little bite. Oh, I must fall to my knees. I have no more energy. And then we get a okay scene, all practical effects, which is what I like. Yeah, she slowly pulls the knife out and she's gonna stab him. He's just gonna let her. I mean, he's just standing there, and then all of a sudden the daughter's there. It's like, nah, don't. We belong together. And then she sends him away, and then he sleeps for 2 days. And then he wakes up in a tub. And the nun wasn't really a nun. And apparently it's never clear what she is. So anyhow, apparently he's a demon now. And he wants the daughter as his caretaker. And she's like, well, she's taken already. And so he goes back. They're going to have a final showdown. Super easy fight. He just chops her head off. Cool practical effects with the head chopping off. And then right after that, he walks through a door and there's a giant seashell that's glowing. I shit you not. This is like how the things are laid out to you. And he crawls into the seashell to see the daughter, and now she's like this big tentacle monster, and she's like, don't you think I'm sexy? And he's like, not really. He backs out. And then all of a sudden, he's hurting and everything like that. He raises up his shirt. You see stuff moving. And then he starts giving birth to one of the bats. So, like, his pajama bottoms get soaked in blood, and there's a bunch of, noises and stuff like that. And then she's like, oh, I think you'll make a wonderful mother. Doesn't make any sense. Oh yeah, and after he decapitates the old lady upstairs, her dress flies up and you see a little dick and balls there. So the mother was a dude the whole time. Like, this movie makes no sense. It's a slow burn. It's not a satisfying payoff. If you're gonna watch it, I'd recommend watching like the last 30 minutes, because that's the only time anything happens. It's nonsense. Nothing made sense. The characters weren't interesting. Some of the sound design was cool. Some of the music that played it, but it was just playing over like them staring at each other weirdly, like trying to be romantic, and then creepy music over it. I don't know. So overall, I'm gonna have to give Amulet like a 2 out of 10. It's a movie, and it had some cool practical effects in the end. That's the only 2 points I can give it. It sucks. I don't know how this got made. So, there you go. I don't got much else for you on that one. I do not recommend you watch this. It was terrible. Next movie I'll be watching is called All That We Destroy, and it is on Hulu, if you want to check it out. Hello. Let me posit a question. Say you have a beautiful, bouncing baby boy. You're a successful businesswoman, and your little bundle of joy hits around 6, 7 years old. Suddenly, your animals start disappearing. Wound up dead. That's just boys being boys, right? Go to the playground. At school, what could possibly happen at school? Could your son, I don't know, maybe kill another little girl? Well, that's a simple solution. It was clearly an accident, right? So, what? You homeschool them, No more accidents. Then that testosterone hits like a truck. And boy, as someone who lived through it, man, oh man, those teenage raging hormones get you a little, murdery, right? We've all been there, You get it done and then you feel a little bit better for a little while. Everyone gets a little murdery through puberty. Haha, not me. Just kidding. Anyhow, what would you, as a parent, do to keep your child out of prison and off of death row? Well, let's think logically. Boy meets girl. Girl comes back to boy's place. Boy murders girl in his room. Mom comes home, finds dead girl. Like any good parent. You clean up the mess. You get rid of the body. But then what? You could just report your child. Goes to prison. Probably death row. Never hold your sweet bundle of joy again. Let's think of other options then. Let's see here. What's your job? Are you maybe a school teacher? Maybe you could lure over that one kid that always interrupts in class. Nah, that would never work. Someone would eventually miss that little asshole. What if you were a world-class geneticist with access to state-of-the-art technology? Yeah, let's do that. Why don't we just clone people for your kid to murder? Well, that fixes everything, right? How many times? How far are you willing to go to keep your kiddo off death row? That is the question that the fourth movie on our list asks. All that we destroy is awesome. I'm just going to say that. It's awesome. Filled with tension. The acting is amazing. When this kid walks into a room, I don't know if he's going to hug you, be a nerd, or just straight up try to murder you. I really don't want to spoil too much about this. I've already probably said too much, but that's what a lot of what the trailer shows. So I don't feel like I'm giving too much away. I really enjoyed this. I just finished watching it, and after the wet fart that was Amulet that I just watched before this was a breath of fresh air. I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend you go watch it. I'm going to set this one in at a solid 7 out of 10. That is well above average. I consider this to be a really great film, and I'm glad I watched it. So, All That We Destroy, over here on Hulu. You can check it out. And now for movie number 4 on our A list of ABCs of horror. It's called Appendage, and it is also on Hulu. All right, The Appendage. Wow, what a treat. I'm actually not going to spoil too much of this, but I will say we follow a character named Hannah, and she is a fashion designer. And fashion people are just blatantly weird. They're hokey. But anyhow, we follow Hannah. She's a fashion designer. Looks like New York City. And her boss, Christian. It's Christian, you dick. But you gotta be all fancy and stuff. But anyhow, this is a sleeper hit. I would love a sequel. I don't think we'll get one because it's hidden in Hulu. Like, I have never even heard of it, but it deserves recognition. It came out in 2023. It is a R rating, and the practical effects in this are phenomenal. They could have easily cheaped out with a bunch of cheap CGI and had a similar effect, but they went practical with the slimy, gritty prosthetic effects. And this is essentially a body horror psychological thriller. It's like Smile, Zoolander, and Malignant had a baby. That's the best way to describe this. Like I said, it's a story about your negative emotions and what happens when you ignore them and push them down, and they manifest as something physical and real and harmful, but taken to an extreme for a horror effect. And it's done really well here. This is probably the most enjoyable film I've discovered so far, and I'm gonna slap a 8 out of 10, and I highly recommend on this because this is something special. Great writing. I immediately cared about the main character and the surrounding characters. Like, I like them. They're very likable characters, and I enjoy that. They're flawed, but enjoyable. So, fantastic movie. Sleeper hit. Definitely check it out. It's over here on Hulu. Appendage. Now, our next movie is Apartment 7A. You've seen this movie before. I'll tell you that. Just done way not as good. Alright. Have you guys seen Rosemary's Baby? Like, that movie is so old, you watch it and you're like, people were scared of this? What do you mean this is a horror? But essentially, plot, and this shouldn't be a spoiler because this is the plot to Rosemary's Baby. Alright. Down on luck woman gets taken in by some people that are overly nice. They do a bunch of good things for her. That's because they want to impregnate her with the devil's baby, the Antichrist. That's essentially the plot. And at the end of that film, or at the beginning of that film, something happens to a random woman that we don't know much about. Well, this is her story. So this is a prequel. Apartment 7A is very, very well done. Our main character is a dancer who's down on her luck, not doing too well. Her body's giving out. Gets taken in by this older couple, which the acting for Millie, I believe her name is just fantastic. She's loud, she's funny, and she's also super creepy. So I enjoyed this. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time watching this. As a matter of fact, I remember doing a trailer reaction many moons ago on my YouTube channel, if you wanted to go check that out. But yeah, it lived up to the hype. It essentially tells the same story with a dancer spin on it. But much better quality, much better acting, and I really, really recommend you go out and watch this. I'm also, like, today, I watched these back-to-back, Appendage and Apartment 7A, and Apartment 7A is on Paramount Plus, if you wanted to check that out. And I watched them back-to-back this morning while I was having my coffee. I can say today is a good day for watching horror movies. So far, it's been awesome all day. Overall, fantastic. Both films, both 8 out of 10s. Solid, edge of the seat, great acting, practical effects, just chef kiss. I love when they do the practical effects. And, some of the practical effects in Appendage actually reminded me of Evil Dead. The way they went about it. So, original Evil Dead. So, overall, fantastic, great. I highly recommend both these films. Apartment 7A, Appendage, great. Smash them together. They're both 8s. I'm going to move on. The next movie is Abigail. This is the one that my best friend swears I've seen. But I swear to God, I do not remember watching this movie at all. That could be a bad sign, or maybe I never did watch it. But I remember seeing the trailer. The thing about Abigail is it is a extremely disappointing movie. And what I mean by that, it is not a bad movie. It's actually an above average horror comedy movie. And I think this is where me and my friend had an argument, because I have not seen the movie up until now, but I've seen the trailer. And watching the movie is essentially just an extended trailer. Like, they gave every plot point away, everything fun they could have done with it, all the suspense they could have built. Abigail squandered it on the trailer. Alright, they could have had Abigail be this innocent, that they kidnapped. Throughout the whole movie, monster attacks him. Carlos Esposito's character comes in, attacks him. He's a monster, wants Abigail for some reason. And we could have went through this where they're trying to protect her and keep her safe. And then there's a hill turn in the final act that blows people's minds because it's like, what the fuck? But no, don't get me wrong. I love the idea of a little unassuming vampire monster girl that goes apeshit and fucks people up. I'm all for that. But you spoil any twist, any surprise, any real suspension in the trailer. You killed it. So much wasted potential for one of those, like, what could have been like a all-time great horror, like, whoa, what the fuck? I didn't see that coming. And so there's where our confusion lies, because after watching the trailer and then finally watching the movie, I knew everything that was going to happen. Like, I was not surprised by anything. It just, it had the ball, right? It had the ball. And then it was like, oops. And it dropped the ball. Just completely, utterly, was just like, nah. As a horror comedy, it's as good as any other horror comedy, really. It's just, there was nothing surprising. There was nothing, and the gore's there. There's some gore, but they went for the R rating, and it seems so toned back, like they were actually shooting for a PG-13 rating. Kind of like a Megan, so more people could watch it. So overall, not a bad movie. I'm just disappointed, man. You had so much potential. So much potential. And the kid that plays Abigail does an excellent job. Great job. Ferocious, really fucks some people up, but overall it was a letdown. It really was. Like, I can see all the wasted potential that they just left on the table. And this could have been like an all-time great if they really went for it. They really kept that under wraps, really made Abigail a sympathetic character, really made us care for everyone, and they didn't land the mark. Overall, I'm going to have to give it a 6 out of 10. It's still above average, but that's Abigail. That is the big disappointment on this list so far. Did you know that there is a movie starring Mila Kunis and William Shatner that is American Psycho 2 that is actually pretty crazy and pretty entertaining? I'm not gonna lie. So, right here, American Psycho 2, found this on Peacock. I thought, interesting. Saw who played in it. I was like, you know what? We'll add that to the list. I'll try it. This was not what I expected. I was expecting a slasher, kind of a horror slasher, kind of like the first one. This isn't what I'm getting. This is a comedy. Full stop. All right. The kills suck. Okay. You're going to see her hit someone with something. You're going to see her go to stab someone and it cuts. So, all of that. It tries to play early on like a red herring, like someone else is the killer, but you know better right from the start. And it soon debunks that immediately by the best kill in the movie is her strangling a dude with a condom. I shit you not. She strangles the dude to death with a condom, and then she's like, ribbed for your pleasure, bitch. And I'm just like, what? This does not take itself seriously at all, and that's actually what makes it enjoyable. Though, as a horror movie, it gets a really low rating, but I'm going to go ahead and, I thought it was going to be a horror. I'm going to go ahead and rate it on what it is. It is a comedy horror spoof that maintains a very 10 Things I Hate About You vibe to it, because she's at college. I'm not going to give away too much of the plot, but it's very, very cool. I actually really, really enjoyed what I saw here, and I was smiling the whole time, and for that, I've got to give it like a 7 out of 10. Like I said, as a horror film, it'd be more like a 4, a 3. I didn't realize I wasn't watching a horror film until I was well on into it, and honestly, I didn't want to stop watching it. So it is, if you want to click it on, have a laugh. I think it said it had like a 19% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I just disagree. That it's probably the best time I had watching any of these movies, honestly. So yeah, I'm gonna stay solid on a 7 out of 10 for American Psycho 2. That leads us to our number 8. Our number 8 is Annihilation. You can watch this out on Paramount Plus, and I've got a few things to say about this without being too spoilers, because this movie I recommend everyone go watch. Alright, the acting is awesome. The set pieces are amazing and beautiful. The creatures that are in this movie are very creative and very well done, and the monsters that they have to contend with are very unique. Like, I'll spoil one, because me explaining it to you isn't really going to do it justice. There is I guess you would call it a super zombie bear. And when it growls or roars or whatever bears do, it's people screaming for help is what it does. Like, and it's just like people screaming for help. And so that's just one example. Like, I'll let you experience the rest for yourself. But essentially, this big barrier has come up that they call the Shimmer. And it's spreading and spreading and spreading, getting bigger and bigger. The government is doing special ops, secret, government classified operations, trying to go in, figure out what it is, because it's eventually going to cover the entire planet, is the gist of it. So, no one's ever come back. Everyone they sent in never come back. Our main character's husband comes back. And dude immediately gets, like, swiped up from the government, just, like, drops in, and, like, while they're taking him to... It's the craziest shit I've ever seen. Like, if this happened in real life, I'd be throwing fucking hands. Like, so imagine your husband just gets back from war. You're sitting at the dinner table, having a conversation. He starts puking blood. You call an ambulance. You're riding down the street in the ambulance. A bunch of cop cars pull you out. SWAT teams pull you out, knock you out, while you're on the way to the emergency room. And then you just wake up in a facility somewhere. It's absolutely crazy. I need to learn to start looking more at the camera. But that was just a crazy early scene that I was just like, dude, this shit's crazy. Like, the thought of something like that happening in real life pissed, like, I'd be so pissed. But anyhow, like I said, it's awesome, and by the end of the movie, I'm sitting here like, what's gonna... It's so... I'm gonna have to watch a lore video on or something, because it's a very, very good movie. A very well put together movie. But even the characters by the end of the movie are still like, huh? I don't fucking know what's going on. So at least I'm not alone there. There's a little bit of a... Like it's a good ending. Overall, this movie is pretty damn fantastic, and I can't believe I don't see it on more lists. I don't hear people talk about it. So that's Annihilation, and it's over on Paramount Plus if you guys want to check it out. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. If it wasn't for, like, the final act, I think this would be a 9 out of 10, but it just gets fucking straight up wacky at the end, where I thought I was following it, It's like, okay, all right, that makes sense. People are explaining things. I'm like, all right, cool. All right, I can understand that. I'm a pretty smart guy, a little bit above average, I think. And then it just goes fucking bonkers for the last 20 minutes, and everything you thought was going on doesn't really make sense anymore. And like I said, I'm not the only one. The characters in the movie don't even fucking know what's going on. So, and it didn't feel right to me. I was like, dude, we were working towards something really fucking awesome. So I think this one is actually going to have to sit at 8 out of 10 for Annihilation. And, but it was a really good watch. I think I'm going to keep this series going because I'm coming across a lot of good stuff that I wouldn't have watched otherwise. But, and then that takes us to our number 9. The 9th movie I watched for this video is a Nicolas Cage movie called Arcadian. It's from 2004, and I also watched this on Hulu. This one really knocked it out of the park. Now, I'm a little bit biased because I love Nicolas Cage. All right, I think every time he's on screen, you get a full performance. He gives 100% to every role he does. Regardless if it's a good movie, regardless if it's a good script, you always get 100% in Nicolas Cage. So, if I had my way, all the ABCs of horror episodes would have a Nicolas Cage movie on it. Whether I can make that happen or not, we will see. But, so, initially, I don't want to spoil too much, because I do recommend this. I'll give you kind of the synopsis and kind of the opening. So, this opens up with Nicolas Cage strapping up, got a backpack, got some gear on, and he's jogging through this city and kind of hiding while sirens go off in the background, bombs are shooting up in the air, exploding, people are screaming and yelling, and he's just kind of staying out of the way, trying to stay hidden, paying attention to his surroundings. And this sequence goes on for about 2 or 3 minutes. We're not really sure what he's running to. We're not even really sure what's going on. It's some sort of catastrophe. And he finally gets to his location and kind of goes into a little bunker, little hideout there, and you see 2 babies crying, and it's his twins. He picks them up, he tells them it's going to be okay, and it kind of ends with him holding them there, cradling them, trying to calm them, being a good dad. And then it jumps to 15 years later. The boys, teenagers, and my God, they act like teenage boys. I'll say that. That's the acting across the board in this was phenomenal. I really thought the teenage boys acted like teenage boys. I thought Nicolas Cage acted like a dad in this situation. I thought across the board everything was good. And so we find this family now. They've got a 2-story house, and nighttime's coming, and apparently there's monsters out there or something out in the darkness. It hasn't been revealed to us yet, but yeah, there are monsters that come out at night. And so we see them, barricading the doors before it gets dark and locking everything up and making sure everything's good to go. And then, chaos ensues as the movie goes on. But I'll tell you what, man, the first time something went wrong, was my face was like, oh shit, that's gonna cause problems. So I was very invested from beginning to end on this film. You can tell it doesn't have a huge budget, but I will say they dumped that budget into the monsters. The monsters are cool as fuck. They don't know what the monsters are. It's never explicitly... They don't even know what actually caused the world to end. They actually play a game in their free time, and it's pretty much them trying to come up with their own idea of what they think happened to the world in the last 10 seconds before it all went to shit. So, this happened rapidly. It happened quickly. There was no news broadcast explaining what's going on. There's people in this that were alive when it happened, like Nicolas Cage's character, and they don't know what actually happened. And I have no idea what these monsters are. I have not seen anything like these monsters. They are definitely unique and they're not given a name in this. I can't even track them. Like, you ever seen Supernatural? Okay, I've seen Supernatural like 1,500 times, like beginning to end. It's like my second favorite TV show of all time. Yeah? There's not a monster in there that is like this that I could compare it to and be like, that's what it is. So, seeing as how they don't have a name and no one knows what they are, I am officially going to name them Chatterjaws. And if you watch the movie, you'll get it. So, other than that, I don't want to spoil anything else. I'm going to lock Arcadian in at a surprising 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. Performances across the board were good. Monster design was awesome. And like I said, I really felt for the characters. I was really worried about the characters. The family dynamic is great. Fantastic. I highly recommend you go watch it. Again, that's on Hulu. And that's all I'm going to say about that one. I really want you guys to experience this one. And that moves on to our number 10 and final movie of this video. Now, the last film on this video is threatening to get me canceled. Alright, this final film is called American Carnage, and it is a Jenna Ortega film, and I'm just going to be outright, and I'm going to try to pick and choose my words carefully. This movie is very, 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 very politically charged. Okay? If you are someone who gets mad and stomps your feet and throws a fit over anything political being in your movies, it's fiction. Do not watch this. It's just going to get you riled up. You're going to hate it. You're not going to be able to enjoy any of it. With that being said, there are some pretty funny jokes. About 50% of the jokes land. The other 50 fall flat. The first 35 minutes, everyone acts like a damn cartoon character. It might as well be animated. The plot is so over the top, it probably would have landed better if it was animated, honestly. But, so I'm actually going to just break it down, lay it all out there, kind of what's going on. So essentially, it begins, you meet these characters, ICE, can we say ICE? Is that okay, YouTube? ICE, like the government, raid team or whatever they are. They bust into this home, and essentially what this is the government has decided illegal aliens and their children that were born in America can either get deported or go work in an old person's home and have all charges dropped and gain their citizenship. So, obviously, out of the two, one of them is a superior deal on the surface. So they go, everything's not quite as it seems. They got some great horror moments in here, but first and foremost, this is a political comedy before everything else. The horror is an afterthought. And so, things start getting weird. The old individuals in the home, something ain't right. Big conspiracy stuff going on. Long story short, everyone in the old person's home was an immigrant or a child of an immigrant born in America, and they've been pumping them with sedation and hormones that make them age rapidly to make their meat more tender. Why, you might ask? For fast food burgers. That's right. Now, yes, that is the whole thing. They're secretly turning immigrants into fast food hamburgers. That is the plot. I shit you not. That is the plot. The highlight of this, acting wise, is Eric Dane of Grey's Anatomy stardom, Mr. McSteamy. He plays a great bad guy. But the whole plot is just cartoon, mustache twirling villain shit. So That is the plot. And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There is a part of me that likes the idea of a Jenna Ortega burger. Can I keep that? I'll keep it. Yeah, I mean, Jenna Ortega burger. It just, something about that works in my brain. I'm not here to give any political opinion on this. I'm just saying, if you can't handle anything political being in your movies, don't watch this. It's just going to piss you off. It's just going to make you throw a fit right from the get, because it starts heavy. It does not pull punches. It lets you know what side it's on. It lets you know what it thinks, and it is what it is. I don't care. Like, it's fiction. It's a movie. This was someone's vision. I watched it as such. That being said, practical effects were cool. Like those. There's a terrible CGI kill at the end, but has a beginning, middle, and an end. And like I said, some of the jokes land, but I can't repeat any of the jokes in this on YouTube. Like, my channel will be gone tomorrow. So, overall, I'm going to give American Carnage a 6 out of 10. I was entertained. 35 minutes in, the characters stopped being cartoon characters and actually, like, act like humans. And there's good tension building. So the jump scares, there's not many of them, but the ones that are there are good. The body horror, they got some contortionists and stuff to do some really cool stuff. So overall, yeah, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. And like I said, if you can handle the political stuff, like, I don't care. It's fiction. Then I do recommend you watch this. If you can't, just skip it. Don't ruin your day over a fucking movie. And that's really all I can say about American Carnage without risking cancellation or something else. So 6 out of 10 for American Carnage. I think it's slightly above average in plot. The tone is all over the place, but I enjoyed it for the most part. Alright, we are at the end of the video, but every video, as tradition, we must now crown the very first ABCs of Horror A Division winner. This is the movie that I have discovered on this list that I would recommend everyone go out and watch because it was the best, or the one I enjoyed the most. With that being said, the winner of the world's first ABCs of Horror A Division goes to...
Drum roll, please.
Annihilation. Yay! Ah! Anyhow, Annihilation was extremely unique, had extremely good visuals, had very creative ideas. In my opinion, even though I don't understand the ending, I think it is a horror movie that people could talk about, sit back and enjoy. It's got good scares, it's got good tone, good tension, good acting. So overall, our very first ABCs of Horror A Division champion is Annihilation. Thank you guys so much if you made it this far in the video. If you didn't get the subliminal messaging earlier with all the like, you know, when I was saying like a lot, please like, subscribe, let me know if you want to see more of these videos. If you have any recommendations for the next video, which will be the B Division, horror movies that start with B. I've only got 2 picked so far, Babadook and Bird Box. I'm dreading that one, but maybe it'll surprise me. That means I need 8 more movies. If you let me know down in the comments of any of them you'd like me to watch, I'd be happy to do that. And this video took me roughly 40 hours between editing and everything. So it would really mean a lot to me if you guys enjoyed it or found a movie you enjoyed to like, subscribe, leave me a comment down below. Tell me what I can do better for you guys. I know I'm not great at editing, but I'm trying. I'm slowly getting better. And with that being said, thank you for joining me here on the block, and y'all have an excellent day. Goodbye.